Thank you for joining me for this shoulder mobilization instruction video. So this is a sequence that most all of my clients will have already done or be doing as part of their home practice. So I'm going to go through the details of it here. So I'm going to be using a dowel. You can use a broom or anything that you're able to maintain a connection to, and that is not going to move around on you. So the bottom of mine has these rubber stoppers, because I don't want it to slip and slide as I'm working. So the first thing is that we want to angle this slightly forward. I'm going to turn sideways so that you can see. So because my rib cage is not made like a box, it's made like more of an oval and kind of an egg shape. I'm going to move my arm slightly forward so that my shoulder blade, my scapula, moves along the curvature, the natural shape of my ribs. And I'm not trying to impose a kind of squared off shape. So you can test this a few times. When you're moving your shoulder blade in and out, your scapula in and out, you shouldn't feel like you're coming up against anything that's inhibiting that in and out motion. So I'm going to start with my left arm. My arm needs to be very straight and strong the entire time. If I bend my elbow throughout the exercise, it's going to be more complicated to isolate the scapular motion. So we're going to keep the arm nice and strong. And the first motion we're going to do is shoulder blade in toward the spine and then back toward the stick. In toward the spine and out toward the stick. And I'm not actively pursuing any other motion, meaning I'm not elevating or depressing my shoulder. My arm is just kind of free in my shoulder socket because it has the end point here at my grip. And I'm just isolating and locating that scapula motion toward the spine. After you've done approximately 4 of those, we're going to add the action of elevation. So we come in from the inward direction, we go up in the direction of the head. I'm still not changing my elbow. From here, I'm going to send my shoulder in the direction of the stick that I'm holding. I like to relax the armpit, and then I relax my shoulder naturally. After that, from there, I go back in toward my spine, up toward my head, out toward the stick, drop the armpit, drop the shoulder, in toward the spine, up toward my head, out toward the stick, drop. Again, in toward the spine, up toward the head, out toward the shoulder, the stick, and relax. Now, one thing I want to comment on here is that there's this idea of end range of motion, which means that you move all the way to the point where you couldn't continue motion in that direction. For something like mobilization, we're not looking for the end range. We want to move the bone in its possible pathways. So I'm not going to squeeze all the way to the point where I feel like I have absolutely no room left in my shoulder joint. Same is true on my elevation. Also, the protraction and the depression. So what I want to do is just move within that space. So I'm going to go in, up, out, down, in, up, out, down. I'm going to move to the other arm, do the same thing, other arm. I'm going to start with my shoulder motion. I'm going to talk to you while I'm doing this. Very important to this motion is the position of my spine. For healthy shoulder function, there are multiple landmarks that we're working with. One is the arm. The second is our scapula, which is what this exercise is really highlighting. And then also is the collarbone or the clavicle, and that has a relationship to our thorax, our thoracic spine, everything that has a rib attached to it. So it is important that we are sitting vertically in our upright supported position. The other word that you know for that would be narrowing. So I'm going to be thinking about my spine having that support for that upright action as I'm doing these mobilization exercises. So I'm going in toward my spine, up toward my head, out toward the stick, and down. In toward my spine, straight elbow, up toward my head, out toward the stick, and drop the armpit shoulder. In toward the spine, up toward my head, out toward the stick, and down. In, up, out, down. I'm going to do this one more time. In, up, out, down. So you might be asking in your mind, Chad, how will I know what my end range of motion is? One way to do it is to find the end range. So you may have to go all the way in. You're like, okay, that's it. That's it. That's it. And then that's it. And just know that's not what you're going to do. So you go a little less than that, a little less than the top, a little less than the furthest out, and then you release into that. This should definitely feel like your shoulder is having a nice moment of release. In, up, out, and then we go down to the released position because we were in elevation. In, up, out, down, and then you're going to also, once you have identified those motions, you're going to try to find how to make one motion move into the next motion without it feeling like a box. So it'll feel a little bit more circular and connected in the motion. Yeah, one more time on this side. Repeating, in, up, out, down. In, up, out, down. In, up, out, down. In, up, out, down. Okay, so that is the shoulder mobilization exercise that we do on the pulley tower with the straps, where we're using here a stick, a broom, a dowel, whatever you have, to give you a closed end at your hand so that you can really feel your shoulder moving without that object. Now, let's take our arms out to as though we were holding two sticks. Think about the same angle you were just on, but bend your elbow so that your hands go up toward the ceiling, what we call goalpost. Now, goalpost, if I followed the instructions, my goalpost will appear forward of me, and I will definitely not be in this angle. So you can use two sticks if you want to go out to the side, figure out your landmarks, and then bend your elbows from there. So we're going to start with that drop, slide the shoulder blades together, up towards your head, out towards your elbows, and then from the armpits, you release, the shoulders release, and then you bring those shoulder blades together. They go up towards your head, out towards your elbows, and then we relax into the drop position. In toward each other or toward the spine, up towards your head, out toward your shoulder and release, and in toward your spine, up towards your head, out toward your elbow and release. Now you probably just saw me do a little self-correction. As I was mobilizing, my arm wanted to rotate even just a little bit into that toward what would eventually become internal rotation. And as I do that, I could feel that my pathway changed and I didn't have the same clear, unobstructed path that I had when I was more properly in this position. Now let's talk about how we can drop the elbows down closer to the rib cage to help you with step number one. Shoulder blades come toward each other, they glide up, they go out, they release. Drop the elbows. Shoulders come in toward each other, shoulder blades, up toward your head, out toward your elbows, and release. Draw them toward your body. Draw the shoulder blades inward toward the spine. Up and out. Shoulder blades, draw the elbows. In and out. Shoulder blades, draw the elbows. In and out. You see, I'm giving a little scoop motion now that we're adding some more of the qualities of the motion. Shoulder blades, draw the elbows in, up, out, scoop. Okay, that's your shoulder mobilization video. Now join me in the next video as we go through a review of some of the narrowing exercises that we have, which will take right into upright spirals. Also a very important part of your daily practice.